everybody. Welcome back to Funnysad. Funnysad is a show where we look up comedians' tweets and then we get them, now on Zoom because of the pandemic, but we get them on Zoom and we make them answer for their weird, confusing tweets. And the thing about this show is there's more than one host. I'm one of them. My name is Travis Nelson, but over in Denver, Colorado, I believe we have
Vanessa Don. We're back, y'all. We took a break, but we're back. We got Casey McLain.
That's me.
You have Casey. Wave to the people. How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing well.
Casey, I did your podcast just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And I was looking through your Twitter. This isn't going to be one of my tweets, but I will say, I remember seeing about a year ago you tweeted that you're running out of Seattle comics that you actually respect to have on your podcast. And I will note that you had me a couple days ago, and that will not go unnoted.
Did I tweet that?
You tweeted that, motherfucker.
No way.
Clearly.
There's no way. Wow. I feel like I don't remember tweeting that ever. That's a great tweet, by the way, but and it's very true. But and I just want to point out how much time passed between when I had Vanessa on and when I had you on. I'd like to point that out because it was a lot.
It has been a while since I've done the podcast.
Yeah,
was it even this year? Was it last year?
No, it was not this year. You were one of the first people I asked to do the podcast, and I think I have to quit now. But by the time I'm having Travis Nelson on my podcast, I got to quit podcasting, I think.
You know.
Nah.
I gotta find this tweet, by the way, where I said that I don't respect enough Seattle comics to have my podcast come out very often.
Yeah, in the comments, you just posted a bunch of photos of me.
I just replied with a collage of your face.
Yeah, not even like headshots or just like as a child, just growing up.
It was just a growth chart of you.
Just a timeline.
All right, well, Vanessa, would you like to go first?
I'll start us off. All right. My wife and I are watching Boy Meets World, and I am completely certain that Sean Hunter would have stormed the Capitol.
Yeah, did you see that? Someone responded to that tweet with a great point. I don't know if you saw the response.
Is it the Topanga would be Antifa?
No.
Or the QAnon shit?
It was the shit about how Sean would have done that 100% until he met Angela.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
He got turned around.
That's how, yeah.
Sean Hunter
I didn't think about it, but I'm like, right? Then he meets Angela. He's like, you know what? Fuck this.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Sean Hunter goes from Sean Hunter to Sean King, though, when he meets Angela. That's the transition he makes.
Okay, Casey, I have a tweet that I'm excited to make you answer for. You tweeted, one thing the pandemic has done is turn everybody's sensitivity toward not receiving an immediate text back to spouse of a serial philanderer.
Yes. Which,
first of all, congratulations on philanderer. That's a
took 3 Google searches to get the right spelling, but spell it well enough for Google to know what I was trying to spell.
So my question here is, what triggered this? Was this just, out of the ether, or was you having marriage couple, pal? What happened?
Oh, no, it's not. It's nothing. That's actually what I'm saying. My wife and I are fine. It's me and other comics who, like, because everyone's had so much free time, if someone sends you a text or a Facebook message and you read it, and then you're not, like, responding immediately, they're like, well, fuck me then. I guess you hate me now. I guess this whole thing is over. Let's blow our entire relationship up. Like today when you showed up 15 minutes late to tell us that you needed 10 more minutes. I didn't even.
I was hoping you bring that up.
I made a couple jokes. I didn't assume that. I mean, I believe that you have very little respect for me based on your Apple attack, but.
Don't you do that shit, motherfucker. You came at me.
No,
I should point out this is the only time Travis has ever been late, so it's definitely a you thing.
Oh shit, this is the least priority episode he's ever done. Wow. Okay. I do feel cheated on. Then I think that's what I've realized.
Yeah, no, I actually pulled the tweet out. That's funny. I pulled that tweet up and saved the tweet before I goofed and was completely late. So it's really funny that it all came full circle. But
Yeah, the way that I responded to you being late is like the husband who's unknowingly getting cheated on. You know what I mean? Like the guy that just trusts his wife to not fuck him over constantly, or wife or husband. And yeah, it's funny you bring that tweet. Am I supposed to think these are bad tweets? Because I think that's a great tweet, by the way. Are we
oh
supposed-
no. I mean, it's a good
okay.
tweet. We're just I don't know. We started this episode kind of combative, so I'm just kind of rolling with that in. Usually we're like, we love this tweet. You're great.
Have you not noticed that though?
People
Does nobody freak out when you don't respond to them immediately to you guys?
No, because first of all, my social circle is so small that and the people who are included in it, they know I never respond. So
Okay.
I've kind of like built this up for myself where everyone knows, like, you can send Travis a message, like, unless it's about a booking thing, I'm probably gonna read it and then forget about it and then answer it 3 days later.
Yeah, you've built a reputation as an asshole, and so people just accept that from you. I understand. I get
I
it.
respect myself and my time, Casey. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just been out of town so long, people stopped hitting me up.
Fair. Yeah, Vanessa wasn't available to be booked 3 times a night every night for fucking an entire year. It's been a rough year. Jesus, your inbox has to be taking a breather. Oh my
Bro,
god.
yeah. I'm like, am I a regular person now? Like,
Yeah.
You're still doing shows in Denver though, right? Like I saw you were at a show.
yeah. Yeah, I did 2 last night. They were late.
So
my
people
God.
from back home aren't hitting you up, but you still got an active social life there in Denver.
Yeah, the only reason she's not posting about him a ton is because she doesn't want him to burn her fucking the stuff at her old house for doing shows.
Right?
Gonna light it on
Like,
fire.
that
in the
bitch ain't
front yard.
vaccinated. Out here touching mics.
Yeah. That's a good comedy nickname, Vanessa Super Spreader Dawn. Actually, I think that comes off worse than I meant it to. Hold on. Let's be clear. In any other context, that would be a much worse nickname, but I'm talking about the pandemic, not any. That's.
I was just letting you sit in that.
Right? Just. Okay.
All right, Vanessa, you got another tweet?
Yes. At the beginning of the pandemic, my daughter wasn't walking yet, and now we had our first beer together. She's still a baby. I've just become a worse parent. So how is your daughter doing, Casey?
She's good. She can handle a whole 6-pack now. It's pretty awesome.
Her first words, Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. Her first words were, what is this fucking West Coast yeast?
Oh yeah, that's right, because you're such a beer snob.
Yeah, no, she is too. She's more into she's like a crispy boy. That's a very beer specific term, but she's a big Pilsner person, you know.
Yeah.
She went through the whole gamut. She didn't start at Pilsners and then stop. She double IPAs, sour stouts. She did it all. She came back to Pilsners. She came back home, you know. She's doing great.
Like she's grown and evolved, and that's the most you can ask anyone to do over a pandemic.
I know, that's true. She's found herself. She did DMT a couple times.
Oh, I saw her on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I hope, by the way, now I'm reminded. There's a tweet that I hope you guys included that somebody fell for really fucking hard. Is there one about? Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to like say my own tweet, but
you can.
I'll allow
You
it.
would just be the first one to ever do that.
Okay,
Go ahead.
that's great. That's great. I tweeted something like, I've had my daughter on the carnivore diet since she was born, and some people criticize me for that, but she's already had a successful podcast, been deplatformed, and now is making more money, or 5 times more money than she's ever made. And some guy just took it as like a genuine, he's like, why would you have her on the carnivore diet at 0 months old? That's not good for her. Didn't like ignored the whole rest of it. And then I was like, I even posted like that she was making a workout video for babies, like that they could get big muscle gains or something like that. And he completely bought that too. It was wild to see someone
Is she
not
still
get the
following
diet.
you?
Yeah, I think he's still following me.
Out of
I think he's
concern
waiting for the
your
video to come out.
daughter that you
He wants his
You work for
weak ass
CPS,
baby to
it's just-
figure it out.
No, Casey, we didn't choose that tweet.
Yeah,
But
I didn't.
You did.
No, thank you. Wow.
Right? There's a lot of firsts today in this
Mhm.
episode.
Yeah,
Like,
the
this
least
might be the first
respected guest.
episode we... Yeah, we should
The-
name this one. The rest are just numbers, but this one's going to be called Fuck Casey McLain.
Wait, Vanessa,
The
what
least
I
respected-
named every single episode. You haven't been paying attention, have you?
Oh, that's great.
Camels,
The least
All
respected
right.
guest disrespects the show, I think is what it should be called.
Okay, I have a tweet for you here, Casey. People say that comedians are the new philosophers, and that is true insofar as historically philosophers have been annoying drunks.
Yeah, I feel pretty strongly about that one also. I think it's the stupidest thing that people think comedians are the... George Carlin ruined it. Everyone thinks that comedians are the new philosophers. I don't think you're a philosopher, Travis. I'm sorry to tell you. I one time, there's the comedian whose name I won't say, but I took a picture of two comedians. Somebody had bought like a fishbowl drink at a bar, and they didn't finish it. And they were like, "Oh, you two comedians, you come finish it." And they both put straws in it and drank this like rum fishbowl. And then one of the guys got a DUI that night, and I had posted a picture of them drinking it, saying comedians are the new philosophers. And I ended up taking it down because I didn't want to be responsible for him getting like worse sentencing. But
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, I don't think it gets worse. You just, you know.
Yeah, Vanessa would know.
I guess our legal expert is here.
They know you were drinking. Like, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think
I
about
always think it's the worst comics too who think that they're philosophers, and it's you know it's also like the people who have never read any philosophy, right? Like philosophy now is like YouTube videos you watched, right? Like you know,
Basically.
not that.
Yeah,
it was,
that's a good point. It's like they're thinking that if they call comedians the new philosophers, then that means that they have read philosophy, basically.
Yeah, it like elevates them somehow, and then they get on stage, and you've heard every single one of their jokes before. It's just like,
Yeah.
wow.
And I
I
mean, I think
know,
there's some.
you could be a philosophical hack.
There are
Philosophical.
comedians who are philosophical, right? Like Chappelle, Ted Alexandro. Obviously, I said Carlin.
Yeah, of course. There's a lot
Those
of
guys can exist, but the idea that like every comedian is a new. Also, Ralphie May, Doug Stanhope. I was actually trying to say Jeff Dunham, but I couldn't get there. So, that's my second Jeff Dunham reference since we started. Jeff Dunham is the new philosopher. Is what I think what
You
the
love
title
Jeff
should be.
Dunham, don't you?
I don't actually think he's as bad as everyone thinks, but I don't understand how he hasn't been like thoroughly canceled, considering some of the shit that he does on stage.
For sure. Well, it's one of those things where there has to be accountability, and all of his fans love all of that shit. So there's never going to be any accountability.
True.
Right.
But
True.
also, have you ever had to open for a ventriloquist before? Because I have.
How is that? I imagine it's better opening than following a ventriloquist.
That
Yeah.
is true. That is true. I mean, it's rough either way because when you're opening, and he like people didn't like him either. It was really
Oh, no.
weird. It was like some booker had pulled him out of retirement, and now he was, you know, and people were just walking out of the room in like droves. Like, did you guys not see that it was a ventriloquist this weekend? Were you surprised by the ventriloquism? Did you think it was Jeff Dunham? Because there are levels to that. And you know what? It did make me appreciate Jeff Dunham 1 iota. That's how much I have for him, is 1 iota, because I realized there are levels to being a ventriloquist, and he's not on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to think like if it's not my thing, Jeff Dunham's not my thing, and I think that one of the problems is we like lump it in with stand-up comedy, and it's not really stand-up comedy, right? And so like if that's the type of shit you're into, he's maybe the best there's ever been. He's got to be the most famous ventriloquist ever, right? Is there? I mean, maybe what were
Yeah.
those guys? The back in like the 80s, Otto and George, maybe.
Man, you know a lot about ventriloquism. Huh?
Hey, listen, I believe that comedians are the new philosophers, and so are actually ventriloquists are the new philosophers.
Ventriloquists are the new philosophers will be the name of this episode, Vanessa.
What's the number?
I knew you named the episodes.
All right, Vanessa, you got a tweet?
Yeah, this is my last one.
Okay.
It's just hard to imagine John Mulaney successfully buying cocaine.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if he asked me for cocaine, I'd be like, "Are you what?"
It's not even like, "Are you a cop?" It's like, "Who put you up to this? Are you in trouble?" You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah. He apparently is like
Like,
a
are you
huge
okay?
cokehead. Like he was
Yeah,
historically a
he
huge
had to go to
cokehead.
rehab and everything.
Yeah, I think he's like 10 years removed from his first trip to rehab, which I mean, congratulations for making that choice, John Mulaney, if we have to appease the people that might be sensitive to that topic. But hilarious guy to have to go to rehab. He seems like such a dork, and
Right?
he parties.
So clean cut, but no, coked out.
He was pretty open about it. He talked about being an alcoholic in like his first special, right?
Yeah, I believe that's
I
true.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, his entire persona is like would make him awkward in that. His entire onstage persona would make him very awkward in that transaction, right? In the cocaine purchase transaction, it seems like he'd have a tough time with that.
Excuse me, but I would like to see this weighed on a scale.
Could I have 1/8 of an ounce? Yeah. That's
Okay, I got my last tweet, Casey. I hope you're ready. This tweet says, comedians who want comedy clubs closed but don't say shit about restaurants, bars, and movie theaters don't view stand-up as a job, but as community theater.
Thank you for saving this one to last. Holy shit.
Yeah. This might be my favorite thing you've ever tweeted.
Yeah, it's one of the rare things where I'm not actually going for a laugh because I really believe it. I think no, and it's nobody's like it's like a thing that happened in the last 20 years or something where like in this case where like the bartenders are heroes, but the people who are going to the bar are scum and murderers. And it's the comedy clubs that are functionally when it's like movie theaters can be open and bars could be open. I didn't understand. You know what I mean? Like I was pretty in favor of what they were doing in Seattle or in Washington State to like curb the spread of COVID-19. We're gonna end it on another COVID-19. I think that's how we ended the podcast with me and you, Travis. Is just arguing.
Oh no, you just cut it off on me calling myself an asshole. I listened to it.
Oh, good. That's right. But I mean, I think there's a couple things going on, right? Like, I think a lot of people don't. This is like a great time to not have to worry about progressing in any career, let alone this like super narcissistic, selfish, creative career. And there's a whole bunch of people who, like, I mean, I don't do comedy full time. Travis thought I was a stay-at-home dad the other day, by the way, Vanessa, which is
Still kind of
so
do.
goddamn.
I don't believe that you have gainful employment, Casey. Come on.
Oh my god, it's so funny. I've never had a lapse in employment until the pandemic. I've been at least full-time employed, if not had 2 jobs, but comedy is a significant part of my income now, and I wanted to, like, this fucking hurt, this pandemic, not only like emotionally, like a lot of us are struggling because this is some weird like dopamine we get every couple nights or every night. Vanessa 4 times a night because she's a lot more bookable than I am. But like we're all struggling that way, but it's also like for real, I'm losing thousands of dollars as a result of this. And there's a lot of people who have opinions and who are like quote unquote blacklisting people in our comedy scene. Not Vanessa's anymore. She fucking flew the coop. Congratulations. But it's just like these people, they spend an entire year trading the same $50 bill and they all think they made $50. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's different for other people, right?
We talked about this a little bit on your podcast, but I that's how I feel, is where it's like, you know, who's being blacklisted? Like anyone who's going to do that kind of thing seriously, like, you know, you're divorced from reality. You're not a reliable narrator, and therefore, you know, personally, in this last year, I have lost a lot of contacts because as soon as someone starts talking to me and I can tell they're divorced from reality, like, our professional relationship is over. Like, I'm not, I've been in the business long enough to know that only leads to me being screwed over. So, I don't think people, it is funny that that people are like trying to do that, but I just think, people need a way to get clout and attention, and they'll do what they got to do to get it.
Right. And I think like why aren't they saying that a bartender should never be allowed to bartend again because they're bartending in a pandemic? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like people are like, oh, comedy's not that important. Yeah, but neither is fucking liquor. But they're allowing people to serve that. Like, I'm not even saying they shouldn't. It's like very complicated, right? But it's the weird thing that comedians not wanting comedy to come back is very strange to me. It seems like opportunistic.
If it's better for you that comedy's not happening, yeah, you're probably glad that it's not back. Like if your comedy career is nothing but you getting kicked in the ego and bombing, then yeah, you're probably better off with comedy not around, because that way.
Right. Yeah. Like if you're only doing open mics, like of course, you're glad that shit's not happening.
Well, and that's the shit with the community theater thing. The community theater. If
all you ever did was open mics, what a fucking relief the pandemic has been for you.
That's why I compare it to community theater, because in community theater, it's like everyone gets a chance, right? It's like Little League sports. Everyone gets to play a couple innings. That's not what comedy is. That's not what anything creative for money is, right? Like, to me, that's the difference. And I've tried and failed to do a lot of creative things in my life. And I know that, like, there's a big difference between making thousands of dollars a year doing that thing and doing it for fun and free,
Right. No, I think that's a good point. This is one thing I'm not willing to argue with you
about. We've really made a lot of progress in this session. It seems like our time's about to run out, but
yeah, it is. But thanks for coming on the show, and I really appreciate you being patient with me, disrespecting you, and not paying attention to the time.
No problem.
I really appreciate you allowing me to disrespect you, Casey. It's my favorite thing in the world.
We've ended on a very positive note, and I'm uncomfortable with the sincerity, to be honest with you.